All right. Hey guys, my name is Sunny Agarwal, and today I'll be talking to you guys about a concept I've just been brainstorming for a little while called decrees. Play on the word degrees, and you'll see why. So a bit about me is I am a would-be junior at UC Berkeley right now, but I dropped out literally the day before classes started this semester. I'll go into a bit about that. And right now, my main focus is my work in blockchain and cryptocurrency space. I work with a company called Tendermint, working on a lot of proof of stake stuff. So if anyone's interested in that stuff, feel free to come talk to me afterwards. So yeah, basically this past summer, I was working for a couple companies in the blockchain space, first ConsenSys and then Tendermint. And at Tendermint, I realized that I was learning a lot more just by doing my own research than I was at school. And I guess before this past year, I hadn't really found my calling or something. But once I found out about blockchain, I just went all in. I would read a white paper a day. I realized that just by doing my own reading and research, I was learning much faster than I was through classes. And I was going to be a junior this year. It would have taken me another 2 years to graduate. And I realized, the blockchain space is just moving too fast. And I couldn't afford to wait nor waste 2 years finishing my college degree to get involved. And so the day before classes started this semester, I decided to drop out of school. And so when I was considering my decision, and more importantly, when I was trying to convince my parents of my decision, I basically tried to come up with what is the value of a university? And I kind of came down to three main things. You have education, community, and degree. And so education, right? What I realized is education is free. You don't actually have to pay tuition for that. It's free if you want it. And what I mean by that is, there's MOOCs available online, edX, Coursera, lots of great stuff available. Berkeley is a public school, so I'm not sure if it's the same at private schools, but I can literally go sit in on any class without paying tuition, and I do that. There's a class called CS168, which is Internet Architecture, and I literally just go sit in on the class, free lectures, don't have to pay for it. And like I said, you learn by doing. When it comes to cryptography and game theory and mechanism design, I'm learning far more through my work at Tendermint than I would be from taking theoretical classes. Okay, so if education is free, what about community? Well, this is the community, right? You don't actually have to go. A university helps bootstrap a community, but if you're actually motivated enough to go out and find a community, you can find these communities yourself. Also, that's why I still live in the city of Berkeley. I don't actually have to pay tuition to be on campus. Once again, it's a public school, so it might be different at private schools, but I literally go onto campus probably every day almost, and just meet with people, talk to people. You can still be part of the campus community without paying tuition. And communities naturally form. I think some of the best communities I've been on have been online on Reddit or Slack, stuff like that. So great. Education and community is free. The one thing that's not free, the thing that you're actually paying the $60,000 a year for, is the degree. And for me, I realize that the degree is not as necessary, especially in the space that I'm in. And I'd imagine most people in the room would probably agree with this premise that the degree is not that necessary for success. But for most people, I talk to people to my friends saying hey, why aren't you doing this as well? You're really into this stuff as well. Why aren't you doing it? And a lot of people are they're scared of taking that plunge of dropping out. It's a risky thing to do. And so what I was considering was, is there a way to create something better than the current degree program that still enables people to take this sort of plunge? And so, okay, a bit of the inspiration of how I got this idea, right? At Berkeley, there's this cool program called Course Threads. And how it works is there's these interdisciplinary topics, and you take 3 or 4 courses on each of them. And then, so for example, you have things oh, sorry, you can't read them. The projector's a bit bad, but there's one called Culture and Globalization, Historical and Modern City, Human Rights, Human-Centered Design, Carceral Geographies. But what really interested me was that each of these course threads is actually sponsored by an on-campus institution. So for example, the human-centered design one is sponsored by the Jacobs Institute of Design. And I thought that was really cool. Like, it's not actually the university, like the academic side of the university that's giving these course threads. It's actually these institutions on campus that are doing that. And I combined this idea with this major at Berkeley called ISF, Interdisciplinary Studies Field. And what that is you can kind of go ahead and create your own degree program where you can go ahead and propose any degree you want and pick courses from any department, put them together into one degree and say, I want to study this. For example, this one is a capitalism, history and culture of capitalism. And it's taking classes from like poli-sci, sociology, economics, history, you get geography, you're getting these very interdisciplinary fields. And the ones on the left are these like very common ones that are done. And so you can like pull from what other people have done in the past. Or the other cool thing you could do is these are all people who have like, created their own program completely from scratch, proposed, picked out classes from all the majors at Berkeley and proposed their own system. And you have like all sorts of cool things, organizational theory, transnational workers' rights, aesthetics, international financial systems, politics and aesthetics of public space. Like you can imagine, like, for example, like that one takes a lot of concepts from like political science, along with architecture, along with urban design, very interdisciplinary. So what I wanted to do was, what if we could bring this concept to MOOCs? So what I realized are degrees are just basically someone of reputation certifying a curriculum. Basically, the University of California, Berkeley is saying that, hey, this list of courses is what you need to be good at computer science in industry. And so, many of these MOOC platforms give verified certificates showing that you've completed a course, but they don't actually do any of the aggregation of like multiple courses into one overarching curriculum. And so what I wanted to do was create a process where anyone could go ahead and design your own degree and get it by someone of reputation, right? So it doesn't actually have to be the university giving you the degree. It's the sponsoring this decree. It's some rep nonprofit or institution. So let's say you wanted to design your course decree in macroeconomics, right? You can go to the World Economic Forum and have them be the sponsor for the decree. And so basically I called it decrees because it's in decreeing that you are qualified to do something, and it's a play on decentralized degree. But so wait, Coursera and edX actually do have these like thread sort of things. If you go on them, you have like X series programs. Like these are some that are like their edX's X series programs. Coursera has these like, 3-course specializations. But the thing that you'll actually notice about each of them is that they're all in very narrow topics and they're all by the same university. So in for example, you have these like 3-course specialization, 4-course specialization, but all 3 of those courses in the social entrepreneurship one are done by the Copenhagen Business School. You can't take like courses from different schools and combine them into one school. And that's what one of the greatest parts of like MOOCs is that you can take content from different sources, but like these degrees that they're offering don't let you do that. So, yeah, exactly. So what's missing in these is that all of them are by the same, all the courses in one decree, on one X series are by the same university. They're all on the same topic, and all the courses are stuck on their own platform. You can't take courses from Coursera and edX and combine them. And you can't design your own degree. You have to go with the programs that they have actually created themselves. So let's go ahead and build a decree, right, from scratch. We're going to go with blockchain and cryptocurrencies just because that's what I'm knowledgeable about. And that's actually kind of what I'm doing. And it's an interesting way. It's actually a really interesting choice because there are no online degrees on this subject. There's no university degrees on this subject. Actually, I heard there are some universities in Europe that actually are starting to create masters on this, but not in the US at least. Universities are very slow to adopt. For example, at Berkeley, we are just finally getting a data science major after like 6 years of trying to get it pushed through. Like who knows how long it'll be until we get a blockchain one. But all the building blocks to learn about blockchain are all there. So let's go ahead and build our own decree. Luckily, I happen to have a message from Joseph Poon, If anyone knows who that is, he's the founder of Lightning Network, important thing in Bitcoin. But basically, he told me, this is basically a list from him a couple months ago of like, I asked him like, yo, what do I need to know in order to be like a badass in blockchain? He's like, just learn all this stuff. So let's go ahead and take this and build a decree off of this. You know, game theory. We can take all these are some of the best game theory courses on Coursera. We can add all of these to our decree. Distributed systems, let's take all of these courses. But the cool thing is, notice that they're actually not all from the same source. So one is from edX, one is from Coursera, one's from MIT OpenCourseware, one's from Udacity, cryptography. One cool thing is, you know, you can actually pull from these existing programs, right? Like I said, Coursera and edX have their existing X series and programs and stuff. And you'll notice that one of the things I added in my cryptography is this 4-course specialization in applied cryptography. And that holds these 4 courses. So you don't actually have to like rebuild everything from scratch. The whole point of open source is that it's like, think of it almost like Git for anyone who knows that. Like you can like pull from what other people have already created and incorporate it into your decree platform that you're building. So everyone's kind of like working on this, like, you know, helping each other aggregate content. You know, cybersecurity, networking P2P systems. Basically, I'm giving you a list of courses that I'm planning on taking over the next like 1 or 2 years. Mastering Bitcoin. By the way, take that Pluralsight course. That's what originally got me into Bitcoin. Super great course. Yeah, and the cool thing is like you can take all these courses, and then after you design your decree, you can go ahead and get some sponsors, right? Like I've already got an Interchain Foundation to agree to like, you know, are willing to sponsor a decree on blockchain. Go get Ethereum Foundation, Bitcoin Foundation, Digital Currency Initiative. Digital Currency Initiative is run by MIT Media Lab. And like, yeah, sure, they're a university, but they're actually a huge nonprofit in this space. So like, why not add them in as well? It's more reputation being added on into this open source decree. And what are the benefits of this are basically, you know, you allow people following non-traditional education paths to receive degrees of some sort, someone of reputation backing their work that they're doing. Students can create custom degrees to fit their own learning path, and sponsors know industry better than universities, right? The Ethereum Foundation, Ethereum Foundation much better understands what's needed to be a developer on the Ethereum platform than any university does. So they are better equipped to certify any curriculum that you create for this field. Same thing with, like, you know, I'm sure the Global Economic Forum better understand what's needed in the real world application of economics than any of the theoretical like professors who, or the, not even professors, it's the administrators who create the degrees, right? And so they probably understand it better than the administrators at universities. You separate content creators from content certifiers. That's actually really cool because now you actually get this quality control that's being built because the people who are creating content are not the same people who are certifying content. This is like sort of like the problem with University of Phoenix, right? They're the ones who are creating content but also certifying it themselves. And that's why the quality of the content is not that great. It creates bad incentives to not actually create good content. So if you separate these two entities, you actually get much better content creation. And the fact that you get this separation of content creation, is that you can allow anyone to be a content creator. So you have these MOOC, you have all these MOOC platforms like edX, Coursera, FutureLearn. These are all like, you know, you allow universities to upload their MOOCs online for anyone to take. But the cool thing is that because we actually get certification from another reputable source, you can actually now start incorporating other MOOC platforms that are not created by, like, you know, professors and academics, but are usually just as good quality, right? Udemy, anyone can go and create their own MOOC. Khan Academy, one guy is teaching millions of people, and like, you know, as long as he's not the one certifying his own content, you have an external source, why not incorporate his content if it can be certified by someone else? And so you actually open the field for, like, you know, you don't limit yourself to who can be content creators. And so I'm not going to go through this because I think someone signaled to me I'm almost out of time. But these are basically some tweets from Naval Ravikant. He's the founder of AngelList. And he's kind of talking about a lot of these concepts of efficient credentialing in our society. And so if you go to decrees.org, it's just a link to this slideshow, so you can go ahead and flip through it if you want. And there's all my contact information, my email, Twitter, my website. So love to talk to anybody about this afterwards.